sharing?
You know, I think in looking at New Mexico, it's pretty easy to see with our finances the way they're going. When you turn around and we almost have a three-legged stool out there. You've got government employees, which are on the chopping block from Washington. All the military people, the labs, and Sandy and Curlin and Los Alamos, all the labs. You look at the forest, the BLM people, all those federal and state jobs and how they're tied together. That's on the chopping block in Washington. We've got agriculture and we've got oil and gas and the three-legged stool there that we have to look about what's we're taking. One of the things that we're lacking an awful lot in is building products here in New Mexico with the things that we have. And I think when you turn around, you look at when you figure we have the two largest cheese plants in the world here in New Mexico, and yet how much of it's marketed locally? How much of it do we bring down and put it back in? Where do we go with all that? And we haven't done near enough. I mean, I just have to look when you look at the price of alfalfa that's gone from $180 a ton to $300 a ton plus being delivered. There's a lot of money in that field, and there's a lot of things that we have to do to figure out how to do it. This is an opportunity, I think, to help us diversify some more in New Mexico, and I hope we can do it. When you look at oil and gas has paved the way for New Mexico for years. And yet, what do you do when we have in our budget the value of natural gas at $5.60? And on Friday, I was talking to Representative Bratton, and he told me natural gas, instead of being traded at $5.60, was traded for $2.13. Now, where do you think our budget goes? And I'm just saying, well, we've got to diversify what we're doing. And that has to happen. When the governor talks about a $250 million surplus, that goes away rather quickly when you take the natural gas down to $2.13. Even if you give the benefit of the doubt and throw $2 for liquids, that still gets it down to $4 and a dime. It means we're $1.50 short, which is about $180 million out of the so-called $250 million surplus we have. That happens because we're not diversified. And there are things that we have, and there are things that we have to do in this state to make sure that we diversify and we enhance the businesses we have here. And some of them do a lot of different things. You know, that pipeline, that Keystone pipeline, if it came down here, it would free up more liquids and stuff to be, in my opinion, to be processed in the Mexico refineries and alleviate our dependence on foreign oil in New Mexico and up out of the Gulf. There's a lot of things that can happen from that. But it gives us a lot more opportunities. As we know, our gas is landlocked. We've got to figure something out. Hopefully out of this, and before we get through this session, I hope we have a committee to study the feasibility of putting a natural gas plant somewhere in New Mexico to generate electricity, because you can sell electricity. It's the natural gas right now that's hard to sell. And we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to do something where we keep in tune what's going on in the Northwest with coal. You know, this energy is another leg of that three-legged stool. And we have to prepare what we do. What do we do if we take away coal power in New Mexico? Well, you devastate the Navajo Nation. And that's the best job to have up there. And so, you know, we have to look outside the box. And this HIRE program is something that can get us to move us off being dependent on just one or two resources in our state, spread us out, and move us forward. And I think this is a start. It's going to be difficult, but everything we do up here is difficult in these challenging environments. And just looking around, we have tough economic times we're not through with. But we're not going to throw up our hands and walk away from it. We're going to stay here and we're going to do what's right until we get it done. And we're going to create where New Mexico is a friendly place to be. And we would call on the executive branch to look outside and look at the fines and the things that they do to New Mexico businesses. We passed a law here to make everybody file a CRS form electronically. But you know, how do we find out? How is it that we come along and find out when you have somebody that's filed for 4 months? Of course, the state doesn't send back a report that says that you filed, okay? They received your report. And the people that paid all the money in, filed all the forms, and then only to find out that, you know, the state computers don't recognize an apple. You send it on the Apple computer, you didn't get it. But you find you $1,500. Now they had all the money. Just somehow or another the paperwork got lost. Well, that happened to one of my constituents. And my constituents are afraid to go to the tax department because they'll get audited. They'll come back and call, just say, everybody just says pay it and forget it. You shouldn't be afraid of government. Nobody's here to go out there and, you know, and pull your ear off every time you talk to them or they listen to you. You ought to sit down and look and let's figure out how to do it. And people want to comply and they want to do it. So, you know, I hope we can put this together, and I think that's a deal. We have got to diversify. This is a step, and it should be the first of many, I hope. But I hope we can go ahead and move on with this and move forward with getting this up. And I commend these guys for putting it together. And I hope it's, as it goes along, I'm sure it'll be bipartisan, at least in the Senate. You know, we'll always work on this together, and we do. You know, we're going to look at this, and we got to figure it out. And there'll be times that we mix and mash all the way through here. But we're going to get this done, and I commend you guys for putting this all together. And they've been working long and hard at it. And Senator Sanchez got everybody together and to try to work on it. So it's a good deal. And I believe he also included Senator Engel in that. So this is something I think we've got to do to diversify our state. And it's very difficult. When I have that cheese plant behind my house, and I can see 22 doors where they load trucks out. And how much of that comes back into Mexico? The only way it comes back is it comes back on the top of a pizza for me. and you know, can't we put every Geno's and Torino's and everybody else's pizza and make them into Mexico? We could all do that. And they wouldn't have to transport the cheese so far. But you know, that's the kind of thing we need to do. We need to figure out how to do it and work with the cheese plants and everybody here to get those things done. And cheese is just one issue that we're out there with. So, thank you.
Thank you for that, President Senator Tim Jennings.